Hello friends, you're watching Skill Tune and this is Naresh, your host and host. Today we are going to start a new series for you all, for all the Mac users. That's right. We are going to start from the beginners mode and we are going to go to the advanced mode. And this is all about the integration of macOS, starting from the basic of the UI, how it works, how it looks, what are the features of Finder, from Finder till the system preferences, in-depth knowledge about system preferences, and there are a lot of things which you can learn today. Please do watch the video till the end because you're going to miss a lot of things if you're curious enough to learn about Mac. In case if you have any comments, please do leave them and please watch the tutorial completely, right? Thank you. Stay tuned.
Alright, so let's begin the tutorial. Let's start from theory and then we will go to the practical part of exploring the Mac, right? So the first and foremost, the very important part of the Mac is, as usual, the dock. Now you can quickly get your favorite apps from the dock at the bottom of your screen. If you look at this, these are the icons. You can just click and launch your applications right away from the dock. Now let's move on to the next one. This is amazing. This is one of my favorite. Finder. It is an application which will help you to find almost everything on your Mac. It helps you organize the documents, applications, downloads, and a lot of things. The Finder is actually divided into two parts. We'll talk about later in the tutorial, but it's just the overview how the application, it's just a file explorer, you can say, on the Mac, right? Let's quickly move on. So it's time for the gestures. This is one of the features available for all the Mac portables, plus the trackpad which is available separately for desktops, right? So as you know the modern smartphones comes with gesture control like pinch to zoom, etc. The same way the trackpad also works, correct? So if you notice this, right, there's a two-finger scroll option where you can just scroll using your two fingers through the web pages. Then if you want to just navigate, use your two fingers, left and right, you can navigate through pages. There are a lot of gesture control available, and the application, it is an application dependent. For example, if you're using a third party, your gestures may not work because the application developer wouldn't have implemented the gesture APIs yet. Sorry if I'm being too technical, but yes, APIs are nothing but the packages which Apple has introduced for the developers to get full control when they develop an application to integrate these features in the application, right? Let's quickly move on. This is amazing. Spotlight. As the word says, it creates a spotlight to whatever's the file you need on your Mac, correct? So, and over time Spotlight has become very smart. Just if you can see this image here, it's a simple search. It's not required that you have to actually find the file name, remember the file name and search, not required. If you just type documents I worked on last week, documents I worked last year, similar as the documents have been segregated on your Mac depending on the date created, modified, the Spotlight immediately pulls up the documents which you are highlighting, that is by the timeline, right away in the search field. And not only that, there are a lot of other things. You can search Wikipedia on you can get this Wikipedia search results. There are a lot more search options available, but yes, it's actually limited to country specific. I'll let you know what do I mean by that later on, right? Just stay tuned on this. Next comes, it's just the basic, the controls what we have on the taskbar. This is called the taskbar on the Mac. The first one is definitely to close, the next one is minimize, and the next option is to view any application on full screen, provided again it is application dependent. And application supports, yes, it will definitely go ahead and allow you to view the application in the full screen mode. Let's move on now. Safari, it's a default application for browsing websites, and it's not only a browser, it's more than that. There are a lot of features which I'll be talking about through the tutorial. So the next one we have is the mail client. Everyone loves mail, right? Without mail, your tasks are incomplete. You may not be able to go ahead and accomplish your work related stuffs. So we'll talk deep about this mail later on the tutorial. I'm just going through the basics first and then I'll deep down. Next one is the messages. It's a message client integrated with the iCloud service. If you want to know more about iCloud service, I will leave the link in the description. You can check it out and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Basically this is just like your WhatsApp application. You can chat with your friends using the Apple ID. Again, talking about Apple ID, I will again leave the comment below for you to understand what is the Apple ID all about. Next, so using the Apple ID, you can kind of communicate with your friends, create groups, have the chat, send images, video, and there are a lot more things you can do with the messages. We'll talk about that. Right, now this is where you get everything. The App Store, right? Whatever application you want, you can get it straight away from the App Store. Not required that you have to go out, search for something and download it from third-party unsupported websites or unidentified developers. There are high risks involved. You never know what kind of keylogger, in case if any, have been integrated with those applications which downloading from third-party store. And App Store provides a very categorized way to search your applications based on your interest. We'll again talk about that later. Moving on, it's iCloud. This is what I was talking about. It's a cloud integration. It has been integrated throughout the Apple devices like the Mac, the iPhone, the iPad. It basically allows you to seamlessly update your documents, create documents. Example, if you create a document on one particular device, it automatically updates on your other device. This is just an intro. All right, ready to explore? Let's begin then. Okay, so here we are on my Mac desktop, and let me just take you through something which is basic when you actually look at the desktop and how the Mac is integrated and what are the basic things you need to keep in your mind before you can use your Mac. On the top you see this is the status bar, and you have this beautiful Apple logo on the top left hand corner. And if you notice, any application you open, next to the Apple logo you will see its name. Once you click on it, you will see its own preferences, nothing but settings of that particular application. One more important thing in the same bar, if you notice this help, this particular help is integrated with almost all the application, including third parties. They provide inbuilt support on your Mac. You don't have to contact anyone, you just have to open the application. If you're stuck somewhere, you can definitely get help from the help section on this tab. Let me show you a demo here quickly. Example, let me just open Pages. You see this help here, right? And you see this Pages help. Let's click on that. There you go. There's a help section opened, and if you want to just read through, understand how pages works, and if there is any features, if you can just click on show topics, and there you go. It gives you step-by-step tutorial, and also the topics which are frequently asked or frequently used, which you can browse here. For example, how to create a document, how to redo changes, save and rename a document, where is my document, how do you search the document, and then comes customize your app, edit the text. In this you can find almost anything. How do you add a text? Simple. Just go through the scroller, you will find all the help section you require. Right, so let me just quickly close this, show you another one. Keynote. Not so sure who all uses Keynote, but it's a tremendous application if you ask me, compared to the Microsoft PowerPoint, right? But yeah, every application has its own pros and cons, and this also does have, even Microsoft does have the pros and cons. But yeah, let me talk about Keynote as of now. So as I stated, that every help section will give its own application specific help topics to make you help you understand how you can understand how to use the application, play presentations, manage. So I hope you got a overview of how the help section works on the Mac, right? So these are the icons which you need to be familiar of. You can customize them, and some are application integrated. That means it is application dependent. There are some application which goes ahead and adds it up to the dock, sorry, my bad, status bar. And there are some inbuilt settings which you could also add. For example, you see we have a Wi-Fi here, correct? We have a Bluetooth here, then we have this eject button, the volume button. If you notice, I'll take you through the steps where you can add and how do you remove this. Let me just show you a quick demo. I have an icon here. If I want, I can just drag and drop. One moment. Okay, so if this icon shows up here like this, the one which you see, that means you cannot remove it because it's integrated, and you might have to first go to the application, unlink, and then probably you can remove the icon, right? Or the other thing, it could be that it's running, correct? Okay, here you have your battery status. One more thing you need to notice: if you hold on your option key on your Mac and then click on these icons, you will notice that the interface is a little different. It will give you more information than it could really give you. It also helps you with the diagnostics at certain application. You see, it's basically preferences which you can change holding down the option key on your keyboard. Now this is the battery level. For portables, for desktops, you will not find them there because the desktops doesn't use battery power, right? And if you notice here, this, I'll just take a quick minute or two to explain this battery, because this is something very important. If you notice here, it will also give you an indication which application is using the significant battery, and that's nothing but QuickTime. In my case, I'm not sure about yours. Please do check if you are concerned about it. And if you see its condition is normal, and if you click on that, it takes you to the option to understand what is the behavior or what kind of messages you might see under the battery icon. Example, normal, that means the battery is functioning normally. Replace soon, the battery functioning normally but holds less charge than it when it was new. Replace now means you need a replacement of the battery, so on. But before you could do anything, before you could decide it needs a service or not, do not forget to check out these links below. Right. Now this is the basic date and time, but it does more than that. If you click on this, it directly takes you to this preferences window. This is a quick user switch window. It's all integrated with system preferences shortcuts, correct? Now here we are, the spotlight. So you can search anything on your Mac and it just gives you the result right in front of you without actually navigating through the file explorer, nothing but a finder. Right, you see these three dots over here, right? This is your notification center. It's beautifully aligned with a lot of widgets to add. If you want to add widgets, click on edit. You see these are the widgets probably you can add. You can just add it like that. And if you want any other widget, let me quickly add iTunes, and there you go. We have successfully added the widget. If you want more widgets, please go to App Store. It directly gives you the link here. Alright, let's click done. Excuse me, I'm sorry for that. Right, if you want to remove the widget, simply click edit, click on minus, it just goes and sticks here. And if you want, you can add it back again, right? And this is the today's view, and we have another view called notifications. These are your application notification which you might get. By clicking on this, you can just clear the notification. As you see, I don't use them much. Great. One more thing is this is the system preferences gear. If you click on this, it will directly take you to the system preferences application to customize the notification center. We'll talk about that in a moment. Right, so again, let's come back to the dock. Now if you notice, the dock is divided into two. You see this line here, right? These are something which cannot be modified, right? And these are something which is directly taken from your application folder. And if you notice, there are minor changes. If you notice on the application icon, there are a few applications with the dot here in the bottom. There are a few which are not, right? So these are nothing but the indicators that yes, this application is running. All right, now let's move on to understand how to customize the dock. So here we are. So let me just go back again, system preferences, then you go check the third icon, it's the dock. You can resize the dock, right? And if you want the smaller size, you can just bring it down. There's one more way to do it, and this is the way. Just click on the line here, the divider, and scroll up and down. Right, now the magnification, just look at this. It's a way of customizing a dock. So if you notice, see, the application just magnifies, right? If you don't want that, you can just keep it in the center so that it perfectly sits there. I don't prefer those genie effects, so I've just kept it there. Now position on the screen, you can either customize it on your left hand side, the bottom, and the right hand side. It depends, but this is the traditional way of looking at the dock. That's right on the bottom. Correct. Now minimize windows using genie effect. What's that? Let me show you quickly. Let me just shift the settings. As of now, it's showing now scale effect, right? Alright, so let me open messages. Notice the animation here, just pops up, pops down, pops up and pops down. But here, if you look at the genie effect, whoa, there's a whole lot of new effect there. It goes like a genie and comes out of the application. It gives you a continuous feeling that it's as if it's really animating there, right? Let me show you something else here. You see this? You can also do this by holding down the shift key. It works with any application. Look at this genie effect. I'm holding down the shift key now and trying to launch this application, and wow, look at that. That's awesome, right? Right, let us close this now. Alright, there are a lot of other settings for the dock preferences you can set. It says prefer tabs when opening documents. It's in full screen always or manually. Next thing, it's all self-explanatory. Double click when a window title bar to minimize. If you just double click on this, it will minimize those. It's self-explanatory, you can go through this. Minimize windows into application icon, right? So example, if I uncheck this, I'll show you that quickly. It'll go and sit after the divider here. But if I check this and then minimize this, it directly goes and sits on the application where it belongs. Alright, automatically hide and show dock. Boom, the dock vanishes. For example, if you prefer to have just the desktop on your screen and you don't want the dock to be visible every time, you can use this option, and whenever you hover your mouse down in the bottom, the dock appears. You move up, the dock disappears. Down appears, up disappears. That's the way it works. Show indicators for open application. Now this is what I was hinting at. If you just pay attention to the dock and the application example, just keep your eye on the first icon, which is the two files means to slip of tongue, I'm sorry. It's the two smiley face icon, which is the finder. You see, there are no indicators that the application is open, but now you see the application indicators. See this? Goes, comes, goes, it comes. So this is the way you can go ahead and customize your dock. Okay, let's also look at the other things which I want to talk. We'll go to system preferences in detail a little later. Here you go, the finder. So this is basically, I would say that the best explorer a computer can have, an operating system can have, right? Let me show you, as I mentioned earlier in my video, that every application has its own preferences settings just under the application's name next to the app logo. So we have the preferences here for the finder. Let me just quickly show you. If you open photos, you have photos and says preferences here for the photos, right? Next, let me show you another example. Messages. Go to messages, again you have preferences. It is unique to each application and each application has its own unique preferences, right? So let's go to finder preferences. I would like to show you a lot of things here. Great, let's go to general first. Now if you see, it says show these items on the desktop. Now these are the items on the desktop. There are a lot of more you can keep. Let me show you what happens if I unselect this. See, there are no icons appearing on your finder. Just for an example, imagine you're connecting an external drive and it's not appearing on your desktop. Don't be disappointed. Don't feel that it's not working. It's just that you have to come here, change the preferences, right? Now moving on, you see this option, it says new finder window shows all my files or Macintosh SD or your user account. Now what it does is whenever you open finder, it directly goes to the particular option you choose, right? Next, open folders in tabs instead of new windows. Now I'll come to that part later. Let's move on. Tags. I would say that this is a breakthrough way of customizing your Mac, customizing your documents, your frequently used applications, your files, pictures, whatever you name it. Let me show you a quick demo. Now I have this little folder here on my desktop sitting there, and imagine that I want to just place it inside some document folder. I can do that, but what happens is, if I go to my documents folder, right, I have plenty of my folders, and I have to go through one by one and check where did I really place that folder which I am looking for. Instead of this, there's a quick way to tag it under a particular tag. Example, you just have to go to a folder or a file or any document you're looking for. Just click on the add tags option, right? You can either do by this way, or you can right click and just click on the tag. There you go, that's it. There's a red tag added next to the file or folder, and if you come here below the tags, you can see that it's right there. And don't worry, this is not going to occupy any additional space on your Mac. It's just the way you can just tag it. It's not gonna occupy space. So this is about tags, and let me just remove it because I don't really need a tag. Great, you can just right click, add a tag. Again, if you don't want, right click, remove a tag, right? Great. So you can merely customize anything on the tag here. You can add your own tag and name your tag whatever you would like to. And if you want this color correction here, you can also color chooser, you can choose your color of your tag. If you don't want, you can just remove it from there by clicking on this. Yes, I want to delete the tag. Great. Next, it's the sidebar. What is a sidebar? This is a sidebar, right? So many of you would have noticed that you have bought a new Mac and you don't have many these options. So don't worry, it's all there. You just have to customize it. Maybe this is how the new Mac looks without all these options, but if you want, you can just go ahead and check all that you want. I probably prefer everything to be kept under the sidebar for me, right? And another beauty of the sidebar is that you can just drag a folder, keep it in your sidebar. That's nice, right? And if you don't want, remove it. That's it. It's that simple to use. Great. Next, shared. Under shared, these are the options where you get to see most of your connected servers, your network connected devices, etc., right? And if you notice this, I just checked and unchecked few options, and you see under devices you will see your hard drive appearing there. And again, as is mentioned in the general tab, if you don't see your external hard drive on your desktop, don't worry, you just have to come here and correct it. Same way, sidebar, if you have this option unchecked, external disk, even if you connect your external drive, it will not appear under the devices. And if you don't want this option to appear here, the tags, you can uncheck it and you can just have this classic view. Okay, advanced, show file name extensions. Now what is this? Let me demonstrate that. Now if you notice, nothing changed, right? One moment, let me I'll come back to that part because it's a little bit lengthy way, and it goes deep when we start looking at this file name extensions. I would really not like to go on that part as of now. We'll take you through that later. Now if you see here, there are a lot of things which you can probably see. Remove items from the trash after 30 days, show warning before emptying the trash, etc. Now see, I have some contents on the trash, right? And it basically shows me a warning if I want to empty my trash. Are you sure you want to permanently erase? Now notice this. If I uncheck this, right click, empty, gone. It will not give you a warning. And show warning before removing from iCloud drive. If you have an iCloud account associated with your Mac, I'll teach you that later. Let's move on and I'll tell you how to go about the next feature. And yes, very important, you see these options here, and if you click on action here on the top, you can click on new, you can create a new folder, or you have get info. Get info basically helps you to check the general information of a particular file you've highlighted. Example, what kind of file is that, what is the size of the file, where is it located, the path of the file, the created date, the modified date, and there are more info, the name and the extensions. This is what I was talking about, the extension, when I said if you want you can just hide the extension or you can keep the extension there. You see this here, it says OS 10, and once I click on this, it shows now what kind of format is that file. So if you notice that if there is any file which is not showing up the extensions like .xl, if you're using an Excel file or any kind of such, you just have to go to the get info page and get this option unchecked, right? Now there are a lot of things open. You can customize which application do you want that particular file to open with by default. You can customize that from this option. You can choose others, and again the finder will open, allow you to, and notice when you click on that option, directly opens on the applications counterpart, and it will give you an option only to select the application which is compatible. It automatically decides the extension which will be supported in the format. If you notice, this is a JPG. It can be used in certain application, not. So that's how it is basically configured, right? All right, now let me, and yeah, one more thing, you can choose that to be always open with. You can just put a check mark to this, and every time it will by default open with that application. Now this is an important thing, you don't have to work on it, but example, every window of get info will have this little like lock icon here. If you don't have, don't hesitate. And if you notice, the sidebar is so smart that if you're not on the sidebar moving, it will not give you the scroll bar in the right hand corner. But if you just scroll down using your 2-finger gesture or your mouse, if it's connected, one moment, right? So you can, I'll show you what is this. Now if you notice, this is name and privileges, right? Now example, this file has read and write permission. Now if I say read only, it will not allow me to edit, and read and write, just in case if I manage to remove any of these permission from here, no other user will be able to if there is a multiple user, or if you're seeing an icon, a red icon with a slash, which basically means it has restrictions on it, you can just come to this, you can just right click on the file, go to get info, and change your preferences here to read and write. Or basically if you don't have that, just click on the plus mark here, add your administrator account, and click on select. Basically what happens is it adds the user account, and if you click on read and write, that user will get the access to that file, or else you will see an icon with a red sign which means you do not have permissions. Okay, so let's move on. Another crazy feature I love about the Finder is you can use multiple tabs, correct? So what are tabs? Now I can just have multiple files, tabs open with multiple locations. Example, now see, I have this one and with the desktop location. This one is the user location, this one is the iCloud. What basically it helps us to do is you can just without copying from one location to another, you can just I'll show you an example. You can just drag this, go here, and you drop it. It just automatically copies your folder from one tab to another. This is the easiest way of copying your files, right? Now I don't really want there, or if I want I can leave it there, but I want to make sure that it's in the cloud drive as well as in my project file, so I'll keep it there. Where did my project file go? Right, there you go. Okay, it's already there, so I don't want to move it. I'll just close this tabs. So if you want, you can just click on the tabs and you can just probably have many tabs as possible. If you don't want them, just come closer to the left corner of the tab and close the tabs. It's just like how the browser's tabs work. That's it. And one more thing, every application has its own customizable options. So even this has, you can just right click on the Finder, come to the customize toolbar, and you notice you can basically customize these area. Now for example, I do not have a delete button here, but I want to add it. You can just drag this here, drop it, and let's say that I use a lot of CD burning and I need a quick action on that. You can also add that there. I don't, so I'm not adding, I'm just showing you how it works. And then path, you want to know what is the path. Let me just quickly show you what is the path. So it shows you from the bottom that it's inside your computer. Macintosh HD is the hard drive. Inside that you have users, what is the user name, documents, and this is the folder name, for example. Okay, now here I am. So I'm here, but if you want to know the path, you can just click on this. It'll show you the hierarchy, how exactly the file is allocated inside your system folder, correct? Okay, when it comes to system folder, I have many things to show you today. If you look at the top bar, you have file, edit, view, go, correct? You can basically have the options customized, like I'll explain you how it works. So if you go to file, you have new Finder window. You can open multiple Finder windows like this. If you want to just have a shortcut, you can notice every most of the options, right, it has a shortcut key. If you see, this is the command button and the N. If I press command and the N, it just opens the action what it is being described to the particular result, action, sorry. Okay, similarly, if you want to open something, you can just use these shortcuts. I have a shortcut guide of the Mac OS. I'll be sharing that in the description, so please do watch for the description there. Basically, it has all the shortcuts you can use and get familiar with the Mac OS integration, right? All right, now basically you can also find, you can find from there, or you can find this, but this is the advanced way of finding anything you have saved on your Mac. You can go by kind, the file label, the extension, hidden extension if any, file size, album, It's basically the advanced search, as I mentioned. If you don't want, you can just close this, and this is the basic thing. I can show you the basic find option, but if you want advanced, you can just click on the add button, and then it gives you the advanced search option integrated with this finder. And don't get confused, Spotlight and the search on the finder is integrated. Yes, I will explain you that in detail. How is that integrated? Let's move on. Edit is just a quick way of checking copying, pasting, and undoing something which you have just accidentally done. And there is a clipboard which you can notice. See, I have just copied something on the clipboard, it's still there. So that means if I move this clipboard here, click on my desktop, click on Command V, you see this was the file I have copied, still remains in my clipboard and it stays there, correct? And I can paste it in multiple locations. This is the beauty of the clipboard. Great. All right, next thing I would like to show is the view. Now let me show you the view options. Now notice this is the way you can customize your, you notice I'm changing the icon size, and you notice the icons are getting larger. It all depends on your preferences, how you would like to keep them. This, you can also have the grid spacing adjusted. Look at this, the more the grid spacing, the more icons do load. Now let me just keep it where I want that to be. It will not allow me because I have a specific grid adjusted to it. All right, I've got that right. Okay, text size, you can increase the text size, notice that. And then label position, notice this, isn't that beautiful? You can just customize as you want. Now let me see, this shows you basic overview of that file. Example, if you notice here, it shows me how many GB I got. So it's basic information about a particular application. Now let me go ahead. This is the what do we say, it's a home for Finder. You can go to anywhere from this shortcut. Go to an all my file, document, desktop, computer, AirDrop, recent files. Let me show you a little cool trick here. If you hold down your option key on your keyboard, you will notice a new folder option arises, which is the library. And this library, please let me give you a disclaimer before you could go inside this and do anything you want. This library will contain all the application support files and folders which you should not alter, or if you want you can, but at your own risk. But basically this is where your entire storage gets accumulated in the caches. You can just clear them when you want to. You notice space increases. Keep an eye on this. But yes, clearing caches very often is not a good idea. It will slow down your performance. How? Why? Strange. What are you saying? Yes, these are some questions you will definitely get, but let me clarify this. Computer really needs to store cache memory, so that anytime you open an application, it captures the location from the cache memory and speeds up the process of launching an icon, a folder, a document. But if you clear them, what happens is it will again try to rework on the file which you're trying to open, and it will from the scratch start working on the file, and it will take a long time. The performance may dip if you keep on clearing this. So just a disclaimer, but sometimes it's handy when you need those extra space. Correct? Right. Now, as I said, the sidebars are has a lot of options. It's a home folder, it's the airdrop feature. I hope you have fair knowledge on how the airdrop works. Let me just show you this quickly. Let me turn on my airdrop on my iPhone. Okay, my airdrop is on. My airdrop is also on my Mac. For the airdrop to work, you need to have your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on. It's on. It should, there you go, it populated. You just have to drag it and drop it here. There you go. I have received my file on my iPhone. I'm sorry I'm not able to screencast my phone as of now, but it was just a basic feature. Just wanted to show you how it works. Let's move on. So this is the applications folder. All your applications which you have installed on your Mac sits here. And remember, applications is system wide. It's not user specific. Example, you install an application in one particular user, it gets installed on the system applications folder. So this is just integrated with your system applications. That means it's not user specific. Every user will have access to all the applications in this folder. That's what I meant. Great. If you notice here in the Finder under applications, you have something called utilities. Trust me, this has lots and lots of features. Even YouTube will not allow me to upload such a lengthy video as of now. Just kidding. But yeah, it is good tools which you can use. One is color sync utility. Let me just quickly show you. For example, color sync utility. Click on help, click on color sync utility, and let's understand what actually it does. If you want to go through every utility here, please come to the help section and understand what does it do. It helps you to view color profile of an image, compare the color profile. There are a lot of things. I mean, this is a tool which many developers use for various reasons. If you think this will be useful, and if you want to know how to use this, please visit the help section of the application you are looking for. Now, Bluetooth file exchange. Great. This is a utility, a simple one with a file explorer. Anything you select and send goes to the Bluetooth which is connected to your Mac. It's that simple. Let me be a little more precise on this. If you want to transfer your files from your device to your computer, or from the computer to your device, specifically Android devices or any other OS like the BlackBerry, or let it be the Nokia Windows phone, you can basically transfer any files and documents provided your phone supports Bluetooth FTP protocol. Now, if you want to know what is that, I will again leave a link in the description to understand what is FTP and how is it connected for file sharing from Bluetooth on a Mac. Moving on, audio MIDI setup. Let me show you what is this again. Audio MIDI setup. It's an very important tool, I would say, for all the music creators and who loves to play with music. They can set up the MIDI devices, the external devices which you connect. And again, if you want to know more, please come to the help section and learn more about the application. Now, everyone's favorite, Bootcamp Assistant. I'm going to make a separate video on this too, so please do watch out for it. Stay subscribed, and I'll be making a separate tutorial on this, how to basically use the Bootcamp Assistant. What is Bootcamp Assistant? You would have already got a clue by looking at this icon here. It helps you to install Microsoft Windows and an Intel based Mac by downloading the necessary support software. It will create a partition on your disk for Windows and then starting the Windows installer. Now, this was just a theory, but yes, I'll create a video on this and I'll definitely show you how to install Windows on your Mac computer. Okay, I'm just showing you the basic tutorial here. So these are the three options. It's just simple. You continue, select the Windows installer disk. If you click on continue now, I don't have the USB drive. I'll take you through the tutorial. It's a lengthy tutorial, so I would like to keep it on a later video. Right now, disk utility. This is an all-in-one tool to repair your disk and manage any issues which you face with your disks, right? You can partition using this. Obviously you cannot partition disks sitting on the disk active. That means you're actively logged into the partition. You cannot partition it, but yes, there are ways you can do it. If you go to the recovery system, I'll again tell you what is the recovery system, or I'll leave the link in the description for you to understand what is the recovery option on a Mac computer. Right now, it helps you to erase, restore, mount, unmount the disk. Right, let me show you this info section here. This basically gives you the logical volume information. Sorry if it's too technical, but some people really find it very useful to understand their devices logical condition and the what kind of journal it is, and what is about the integrity protection, is it enabled or not. This is what I'm talking about. We'll talk about that later. Let's move on. All right, now let me close this. If you want to click on first aid, you can click on first aid and the disk will automatically be checked for any errors. Grab. Again, I would request you, please open and go through the help section. This is one more thing which I wanted to really go ahead and clarify. Keychain access. Trust me guys, this is a beautiful application designed. It keeps all your keys, nothing but the software, the passwords of application you use, or maybe the access to the application. It's all saved in the one roof, and without this you will not be able to use any application in case if you have any issues with your keychain library. Right, how you can access the library is basically simple. Go to Finder, click on the Go option, hold down the Option key, go to Library here and come down. This is where your keychains for a specific user is saved. If you are having any issues, do remember that there is something wrong with your keychain access. Okay, close it, open Finder again. Okay, I think I lost the path, but that's all right. I remember we were in utilities and then we were here. Great. Right, I think again I missed the path. Let me go to application, utilities. So I'm sure a lot of you developers who are watching this would love this terminal. And those who are not aware of this is just a console, or a a command line to control and work with your Mac. It's going to be very technical, very in deep if I'm going to show you what all you can do with the terminal, so I'm just going to leave that there. Right, if you want, I can definitely create a tutorial on that. Please do leave your comment below guys. Voiceover tutorial, again this is a self-explanatory guide. the most important thing I wanted to show up is activity monitor. You can compare this with the task manager on your Windows computer, right? It basically gives you overall, the tasks which are running, what is the CPU time. You can just click on this to sort by the time. Then you can go to the energy tab to see what application is using, how much impact is it causing on your the battery life, etc. If you go to the disk, these are the applications which is running and consuming the space on your disk. Many of you would understand that once you install an application, it should really not occupy space. True, but there are certain applications, even if you're not using it, it keeps on writing data on your disk. A good example will be a browser. Though you are not using the browser, it's idle, but you will definitely notice that it's consuming the space on your disk, correct? And why will it do that when I'm not I'm not at all using it? It definitely does, because as I mentioned earlier in my tutorial, the cache gets saved, and from which the processor quickly works upon the particular task you're trying to initiate. This is the storage where the cache saves. And if you notice, there are certain applications which, even if I'm not using at this moment, as I'm right in front of you, they're still writing some kind of data on my disk. And most of you would notice, why is my storage consuming where I'm not at all using it? So this is the reason. There are some application which definitely uses the disk space even if you're not using it for that time being, and you can work on them. If it is a third-party application, please do work with your third-party developer. Let's go to network. Now these are the packets which your network is sending and receiving even when you are not using your network. Now as you see, I'm not at all using network as of now. Now I'm not browsing anything, but still it's using some network, right? So if you notice, your data pack is consuming a lot month on month, this is the tab you need to keep an eye on. Maybe there is some application which is constantly consuming data without even you using them, right? Okay, so I think I've covered it. If you just want to quit any particular task from here, you can click on this and click on this button over here. If you want to know more information about this, click the I button and you'll know how much memory is it consuming on your RAM and etc. You can also see the statistics. This is going to be too much of the technical if I'm going to cover this in this tutorial, so I'm just gonna leave up this here. Okay, next one is, this is again an advanced process to explain, right? I'll leave this here. Okay, so utilities I've covered. One more thing which I wanted to cover is the Apple logo itself. About this Mac, it basically gives you the overview of the hardware you're using. Now currently I'm using MacBook Pro 13-inch 2012 model. In case if you guys have watched the entire video and if you're surprised how is my MacBook Pro having 8 gigs of RAM, wherein the stock RAM comes with just 4 GB, and if you notice, I have all these advanced application like the Final Cut Pro, the After Effects, and if you notice the launch time of these applications, let me just demonstrate quickly. Photoshop, Parallels, the runtime compared to the stock configuration will be much faster. If you notice, my Final Cut Pro is already open and the After Effects is trying to launch, but comparatively these applications takes long time to open onto a 5400 rpm hard disk drives. If you want to know more what I'm talking about, you can again check my description. Trust me, I'm going to leave a lengthy description. Please watch out for it for more in-depth tutorial. Let me quickly close this. I was just demonstrating the performance of my Mac which I'm using. Let me also quit this. Okay, so processor is 2.5 gigahertz Intel Core i5. Here is the serial number of your Mac where you can locate. I'm just going to blur this off. It's my Mac, I don't want to reveal that information. Alright, so if you click on the system report right from here, you will see more information about your hardware. If it is installed, you can just see. If you want to know more about the Bluetooth module which is installed, you can check that, and there are a lot of things which you can check. If printer, if any connected or etc. I have connected this with my one of the LaserJet professional printers, and that's why it's showing it was connected earlier. Moving on, the storage. Again, would just like to give you a heads up that this is also a customized hardware. As I mentioned that my 8 gig RAM is mod customized. I have installed myself, and if you notice the SSD type here, medium type, it's SSD, it's a solid state drive 512 gig which I have installed. If you want to buy this, upgrade your Mac, I'm going to leave the description below. I bought this from Amazon, and it's really fast, and if you want to compare the speeds between the hard drive and an SSD, I will again leave that description below. You can check what impact does it cause when you have an hard drive and an SSD, what is the transfer rate and all those things. Yeah, so let's move on. Thunderbolt, so it's basically the hardware configurations, which the modules which you want to know and understand more on your Mac. Okay, so software part, if you have any accessibility, I'll talk about this in the next few minutes, and it just shows what all software counterparts have been enabled. Print preferences pane, what all modifications have we made, etc, right? And yes, if you want to see which bit is this, you can just go here and see it's 64-bit Intel. Okay, moving on. If you want to software update your software, you can just click on this button and you can go to the software update section. Displays. If you have an external display connected, you will notice that this will change to the external monitor, and you can customize your viewing angles from here. Storage. Now let's wait for a while. It will show us the calculation. There you go. But yes, again note, this is a 512 gig SSD drive which I have installed. So on your Mac, the same model, if you're using, the calculation will differ based on the hard drive which is installed. And if you just hover your mouse cursor around these color tags, you will notice what is the data used for each category. And you can go more advanced by clicking on the manage button here. And if you notice that you have an option to optimize, empty the trash automatically, reduce the clutter. It's just that it basically shows you what all files is taking up more space. See, now it's categorized using these file size here. If you want, you can just sort it using this sort option here. Then you can go to the downloads and see what all things you have here. Go to file browser, see which folder is actually occupying more space on your Mac, and basically you can just go inside that. If you want, again inside that the files are segregated in a sorted based on the file size. Desktop, it's again this 171 GB pictures, and there are a lot more. It's a easy way of checking what is causing the storage space, and you can go ahead and basically directly hover your mouse, delete it from here if you want, or if you want you can go to that page, and you can just click on this and see where is the location, so that you can go and see if you want it to be removed or not from your computer. iOS files. Now what is iOS files? It's just your backup file on your computer. If you want, again you can just click on this and click on delete from here, or if you want to just leave it, it's your decision. iTunes is also consuming space. If you notice, it is consuming 5 gig. Similarly, there are other applications. It will show you each categorized storage consumption on your Mac, and you can decide whether to leave it or remove it. This is the easiest way of managing your storage space on your Mac computer. Right, let's move on. Memory is, again, I have one more slot available, and I've installed 8 gig of memory here. Again, if you want, I'll leave the description below to buy the RAM. This is a beautiful option on your Mac. You can just go to Apple logo. Again, I'm just reiterating about this Mac, and if you go to support, you will get the options here which will lead you to the online support. You basically don't need anyone to go ahead and help you. If you're good at going online, researching and fixing your own issues, you can basically go here and click example hardware issues. See, okay, I don't want the survey now. You can basically check it leads you to the support page, and it basically helps you to I'll come to that, give me a moment. It basically helps you with all the information. If you go to important information, you have software license, the iCloud term service, regulatory certification, then warranty information. If you want, you can go through that. Next is service. If you see here, it basically provides you the information about service options available. If you want to check your service coverage, you can go here, click on this. It will directly lead you to the page and help you with the options available. And it also talks about the Apple Care Protection Plan, which you can extend by buying the care plan for your devices. That's something which I wanted to show you. Now let's move on to the main part of Mac. System preferences. It's basically the settings or the preferences for each feature you would like to customize. Let me begin with the general option. You see this, you can change the appearances of your Mac. You notice this just changed. You notice this, it's again color. If you don't want this, you can just have it black and white, or if you want, you can just close this. Use dark menu bar and dock. Wow, look at the theme, it's amazing, beautiful, isn't it? If you want, you can use it or you can leave it. Now automatically hide and show the menu bar. Similarly, as we had the option to hide and show the dock, we have the option to show and hide the menu or the status bar. Now highlighting color, what is this? Let me show you. Now it's highlighted in red. Let me change it. It changes the highlighting color. Now change this. See, you can just customize the way you want. Now sidebar icon size. Let me show you what is this. Notice this. Wow, it's huge, right? Notice this. If I want to change it, I can just change this way. I prefer everything to be very clean, organized, so I would like to keep it small. Show scroll bar. This is nothing but, I'll show you what it is. If you open Safari here, you notice this scroll bar always stays there, but on the Mac, this is the beauty that you can track it based on your movements on the page. An example, now it's hidden, you don't see there, but if you scroll, it will come back. If you leave, it will go back. That's one thing which you can customize. Click in the scroll bar to jump to the next page or jump to the spot that's clicked. It's self-explanatory, we don't have to go ahead and explain that. Default web browser, you can change your default web browser if you have any installed apart from Safari here. Now, ask to keep changes when closing documents. This is very important, guys. If you are a pro, you're working on some documents, Excel and etc. If you want to keep this option checked, it will always ask you to keep changes when closing the documents. Accidentally, if you click on the cross button here, your documents will close. Any unsaved data maybe we may end up losing them. So it's safe to keep this option checked and work on your documents. Right, close windows when quitting an app. That's there. You can just close the windows when the application is quit. Now, recent items, documents, apps and servers. You can adjust this by how many items you want to display when you are viewing a particular. I'll show you that how it works, right? If you notice here, this changes this actually changes in the recent items, correct? I'll do one thing, I'll keep this for a later part. Okay, now this is a feature many of you would be familiar. Handoff between the Mac and your iOS device. It's basically the continuity feature which has been integrated with the macOS. It flawlessly enables you to work with your Mac and the iOS devices in case if you have any. Now let me demonstrate, let me try if I can demonstrate that. Okay, I think I'm having some issues with my network at this moment. That's why I'm not able to demonstrate this feature. Okay, use LCD font smoothening when available. This will basically help you when you're connected with the display. Desktop and screensavers, you can customize your desktop and you can from here. Next, dock, I have already explained this in the initial tutorial. Mission control, trust me, this is something which I love, right? Let me demonstrate this. Now this is the mission control. You can have multiple desktops and arrange each application inside this desktop and work on it. For example, mission control is my first desktop. I can just move it to the second desktop. Now boom, see, there's no mission control in my. Now I can also customize each desktop based on my preferences, and I can change the screensavers, or I mean the one moment, the screen I was talking about the wallpaper. I get stuck at times, I'm sorry for that. Yeah, so it's basically an easiest way of customizing your Mac. And if you want to have a dashboard, you can click dashboard. This is the dashboard. If you just swipe your trackpad with 3 fingers towards your right, you will see this little dashboard here, and it's basically the widgets page. Right now, let's move on. This is where you can change your language and region preferences. Next is the security and privacy. Let me take a few minutes more on this. This is very important. Now, this part, pay attention. If you are trying to install an application from a third-party site, example Google Chrome, it will not allow you to install in case if it is selected App Store. You have to come here and click on this App Store and identify developers. But if there is any third-party application which is an unidentified developer, then you can just double click on the application, come to this page. It will give you an option to allow the privilege to the application to get installed on your Mac. Right? Next, File Vault. File Vault is, it's an super encryption software, I would say. It encrypts your data, but yes, you will need your login password or a recovery key to access your data. A recovery key will be generated once we enable the File Vault, and without, if in case if you are not so good in remembering the recovery key and all, you can definitely take a pic of it, save it. It's very crucial. It gives you a disclaimer: if you forget both your password and recovery key, the data will be lost. Nothing can be done. You have to go to the service center or the retail store and get your Mac wiped out. Right now, as of now, it says File Vault is turned off for my Macintosh. It's basically the firewall basic setup. Here you go. You have a privacy option here. Let me this basically means what all application have requested for my access to my applications. Like for example, Facebook has requested for my location services. If you want, you can disable that, but make sure that this padlock is unlocked. This basically you need to unlock this by your system password to make any changes here, or else you will not be able to make any changes. And this applies to all the settings which requires any modification. No, please note this. Let me show you where else you can see this. Right, 1 minute. I think, yeah, this is where. So you notice there are some features which you cannot access until you unlock with your admin password. Okay, where we were, yeah, we were here. Spotlight. As I mentioned in the earlier tutorial, that you can customize your Spotlight search. So this is where it lies, the preference of the Spotlight. You can come here and you can uncheck everything which you don't want that to be shown on the Spotlight search. And in case if the Spotlight search or any search field on a Mac is giving you trouble, example, if you have a mail and if you're not able to find mail, it's basically related to the Spotlight search feature. So what you can do is you can just come to this page, go ahead and click on the privacy, add, click on the plus button here, and just make sure that you are selecting the Macintosh disk, choosing the entire Macintosh disk, and then removing it. It basically refreshes the Spotlight cache memory, and once you have added and removed the Macintosh HD, it will again try to refresh its cache memory, and it will allow you to search the necessary files in case if you're not able to find anything on your Mac. Okay, notifications. So if you remember, I told you that if you click here and go to this, it will lead you to this page. I'll show you one moment. Click on notification center, click on this. See, it's all integrated. And also let me show you this. I go to Spotlight here, I go here, it takes me to the network page, which is this, right? Then example Bluetooth, you notice there's a Bluetooth option here. If you go to Bluetooth preferences, you can directly go from this menu here, and notice if I uncheck this option, the Bluetooth icon vanishes. Right, this is what I was explaining in the initial stages. Great, let's move on. Mouse, if any mouse is connected, it will give you the preference to add and change your mouse preference here. Keyboard preferences, you can basically configure here. The shortcuts for anything on your keyboard, again, as I mentioned, that for shortcuts I'll be leaving the description below. You can check it out, the descriptions of description for more detailed shortcuts for your Mac computer, right? CDs and DVDs. Now this allows you to make changes what you want the Mac to do when you insert a disk. If you want to insert a blank disk, you want it to open in Finder and show you the empty page, you want it to open the disk utility or run some other application, or if you are pro user, you can add the script from here. Great. Displays, this is basically the display setting. You can adjust the brightness, resolution, and in case if you are using extended display, you can hold the option key here. You will see a new option appears, detect display, and if you have an external display, you can just alter the adjustments. Let's go to printers and scanners. This is where you can add and remove your printer. If you have any issues with your printer or your scanner, this option comes only when the printer is supported on your Mac for scanning. If not, you need to contact your printer manufacturer, and basically if the printing is not working, even if you see it's connected here, you can just try removing it and re-adding it to the option. Now if you want to share that printer on the network, you can just click on this option and automatically it shares your printer to the network, and it will be accessible to all the network connected devices or the computer, right? Sound, it basically helps you to adjust the effects of the sound, which alert sound you want to play you want the Mac to play. And then moving on, the alert volume, the output volume, and look at this again. You notice this is integrated here. If you uncheck, the option disappears. If you find any of these options disappearing, please come to the system preferences page, go to the particular relevant option and make sure that this menu bar item is checked. All right. Okay. Startup disk. If you have more than one startup disk, more than one partition on your disk, you can, for example, you can install Sierra, El Capitan, and Yosemite on the same volume on different partitions, and based on that, you can select the startup disks, which disk you want the Mac to start as soon as you restart your Mac computer. This is a handy feature when you are using multiple options. App Store. Great. If you notice, you can, if you really don't want App Store to check updates automatically and give you the pop-ups always, you just go ahead and uncheck this option from here. Now there is a few more settings which this is associated with your App Store, which is your Apple ID, right? Now going on, iCloud. Once you open iCloud, you'll not notice this option which I'm seeing here. You might have to log in to your iCloud account, and for more information, again I will be sharing the description about what iCloud is, what you can do with it. You can check the description below. And if you notice, this is a new feature on the Sierra, that if you click on iCloud, if you have an iCloud drive enabled, and if you notice, if you have this option desktop and documents, if you check this option, what will the Mac do is, whatever items are there on your desktop will automatically be uploaded to the iCloud drive, and it will be integrated seamlessly. Great. And there are other things which you want the apps that stores the document in the iCloud drive is the basic applications like Mail, Pages, Keynote, and any application developer who prefers this option for you to save this on your iCloud drive, then this option appears here for that particular application. Right. Okay. Now if you want to enable iCloud photo library, my photo stream on your iCloud, this is the way you can access this menu from the options button here. See, that's the way we can access. Now back to my Mac. It's again a kind of screen sharing option integrated with your Mac, and if you enable this, you can access your computer from anywhere using your iCloud ID. And Find My Mac is an option based on the network. If your Mac is connected to a network, you can find your Mac remotely. 8. Next is the internet accounts. I want to take some time on this. Now if you notice, there are multiple accounts which I have enabled here, and if you notice, Gmail, iCloud has the contacts option here. If I go to contacts application, right, and if you notice, I have contacts on my application. Okay, there you go. I have around 2900 contacts. Now if I go to preferences of my contacts, I can choose which account the contacts application to appear and not. If I uncheck this option, you notice that contacts will start syncing, and if I go ahead and remove the contacts from here, you notice the contacts will be added to your contacts application. So if you find any contacts missing, make sure you come here to contacts and accounts, which is integrated with your internet accounts, and you will notice that there are accounts which has your contacts, but it's not visible on your contacts application. Great. Moving on, we have extensions. These are basically your Safari extensions, and there are a lot of small options which I would like to explain. This basically has your third-party extensions. This is your markup tool, which helps you to create annotation on your mail when you're trying to compose a mail. The Finder, all the extensions comes up here and sits in your preferences. If you notice, if there is any third-party application you're installing, it comes in the 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5th row, right? This is one thing which I have here, Flash, and similarly you might have other application which is sitting here, so that means it's a third-party application extension here. This is basically the network. You can add your network here, or you can remove the network. You can go here and set the service order. If you want to import some configuration which has been exported, you can also go ahead and import the configurations by clicking this here and choose the configuration from the File Explorer or the Finder. Now go to Advanced. This is the basic information of what networks you have connected on your Mac. If you want to know what all networks have been connected in the past, you can all have the network names listed here. Now if you go to TCP IP, you will get your IP address and other things. You can go to DNS, and I hope I don't have to explain this. Proxies, you can add your proxies from this. Basically I hope you would get a fair idea what I'm talking about when I say proxies. If you don't, please don't despair. You can just click on the help section here and get more understanding about what the proxies does. Now this is the hardware. You have the MAC address, the unique address assigned to all the Mac computers here. And very important, you can also create locations. For example, if you're working from home to office, you can also click on edit locations here, add a new location, name it office, have the networks customized based on your preferences. I don't want to apply. Okay, Bluetooth I've covered. All your Bluetooth connected device will appear here. If you want, you can go to the advanced option to see if you want the Bluetooth assistant to set to open in the startup, so that your wireless keyboard and mouse gets connected, and so on. You get the other options as well. Allow Bluetooth devices to wake up the Mac. For example, you are using a mouse or a trackpad, you can just in case if you notice that your mouse is not working when the screen is locked, probably this is one of the reasons. Go to sharing. These are the basic sharing options. You get DVD sharing. If you have a DVD inserted, you want to share it on the network, you can do that. This is a screen sharing, the basic file sharing app. You can share the file locally or on the network by just clicking on this button here, and you can basically share your files among the users locally. Now printer sharing, this is again one thing which I had explained. If you want the computer to be enabled remote login, you can access it through here. And remote management is, again, you can manage your computer using this address. I mean, you can just access it here from this option. If you want more settings, you can check. I'm sure the remote management people who are acquainted with remote management will understand what these options are. Internet sharing. If you want to tether, again, slip of tongue, tether your connection from Ethernet to Wi-Fi, you can do this from this option. And finally, the Bluetooth sharing. This is where you want to save your shared files from Bluetooth, and folder others can browse. If you want it to be shared, you can choose that option as well. Finally is the users and groups, which is very important. If you see the login items, if you notice by sometimes if your Mac is taking more time to start, you can basically come here and go to this login items, and these could be one of the reason why your Mac is taking more time to log in, because there are some applications third party which I've installed is taking time to launch. And maybe if you uncheck or remove it completely by clicking on this and clicking on this minus, maybe the application will stop at that stage during startup, and your Mac will boot faster. If you have any issues during startup, please make sure you check this option, right? And this is basic. Other options, you can also have a parental control enabled for your Mac, and have some restricted access to your users which are on the same local computer. Then we have the date and time, the time zone. You can set the time zone, it's automatically set by default. The clock settings if you want to change. Then the accessibility, you have basically more accessibility feature. One thing I would like to demonstrate is the zoom option. You see this is one of the accessibility option. You can, wherever you want, you can hover your mouse cursor. If you, for example, if you want to hover it here and zoom, it will zoom to that particular point, and it helps a lot when you're actually creating these kind of tutorials, right? Great. You have audio preference here, dictations, keyboard. It's this dictation is going to be an awesome tool because the commands allow you to edit the text and interact with your computer by just speaking to it. Correct? You can choose your dictation commands over here. Enable the dictation keyword phrase. You can enable your phrases. Go to, if you want any sticky keys to be enabled here. If you want to know more about this, I would again suggest you to please go to the help section. Okay, the most important thing, this is the mother of all the applications, guys. Time machine. It's a beautifully designed feature, I would say, that it helps you to back up data of your computer connected to an external drive automatically without you having doing anything. I mean, you don't have to even touch a single option and it just backs up automatically only once the the time machine is connected. If you notice, there is a small change when it comes to a desktop and a portable, right? If you notice, if you click on backup automatically, though I have not connected any external drive, the backup will happen on your local disk itself. In case if you're finding that the disk is getting frequently filled up without you having storing any new data, then this could be one of the probable reason, because the Macintosh, what it does is basically it creates the local snapshots of all the data and saves it in your own local disk, and once you connect the external drive, it transfers from the local disk to the external drive. It actually saves a lot of time. I'm going to make a separate video on time machine. Please do watch and make sure you're available for updates, and I'm going to create a very lengthy tutorial on how the time machine backup works, how you can restore the time machine backup, and so on, right? Okay, I think we are done with the tutorial. Last but not least, there's one more thing. Hey Siri, how are you? Okay, so this is many of you will be familiar that it's a voice assistant, and it basically helps you to do lot of tasks, such as Siri, open the latest video. You see, it searches for the internet and tries to open the, and you can also use this to open any application. Open system preferences. You notice? Now look at this. Open Launchpad. Wow. I wanted to show you this. This is basically a Launchpad. It can be a replacement of your dock. It sits right here next to the Siri icon here. There are two ways of accessing Siri. One is from your dock, from here, or from three ways in fact. One from the dock, one from the menu bar, and the other way is by the hotkey. I'll explain you how the hotkey works. So I just wanted to cover this up for you guys about the Launchpad. Launchpad is just like the iOS. You have the application stacked right in front of you as a beautiful iOS viewer, and you can basically remove, add applications to your Launchpad. You can also search it from this option here, right? Let's move on and talk a little more about Siri before we end the tutorial. Let's go to Siri here. Now, if you notice that it gives you a hotkey to initiate the Siri. keyboard shortcut. You see this? Hold command and space. I'm holding the command and the space. Hey Siri, what's the weather like today?
Okay, here's the weather for today.
Wow, that's fantastic, isn't it? You can use Siri for almost any task and it will help you to initiate the action. Example. Okay. Can you play some music on my iTunes? If you feel that I have missed something, if you want me to cover that, please do let me know. I will make sure that I cover those.
Hey friends, thanks for watching. And if you have liked the video, please do like the video. If you have disliked the video, please dislike it, but let me know why have you disliked it, so that I can work on it. Next time I can get good videos for you guys, right? And please do share this video to your friends, to your family who wants to learn Mac and wants to understand the basic integration of macOS. And most importantly, please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and if you have already subscribed to channel, please stay tuned and you will definitely expect more videos and more tutorials like this. But yes, in case if you have any requests, if any suggestions, please leave your comments below, or you can also reach out to me via my Twitter page or my Facebook page. I'm going to leave all the description below for you guys so that you can go ahead and click on it and reach me. And one more thing, I'm going to leave a help section for you guys. If you want to just read through the manuals of macOS, I'm going to leave that link below, or you can just click on the link above and you can straight away go to the Apple page and look for the tutorial, step-by-step integration of Mac, right? And anything if you have you think that there was something missing, or you know what, Naresh, you need something more on this, please share your opinions. I would love to hear from you. And yes, that's about it for today. Thanks for staying subscribed, and thanks for tuning in. This is Naresh signing off from SkillTune. Good day. Bye bye.